to smile before I learned how to heal. People say you always look so happy. I thank them, then carry my silence back home. There's a crack in the mirror above the sink. I never fix it, somehow it understands me. The hardest battles don't leave bruises, they leave mornings. We're getting out of bed. Feels like climbing a mountain no one else can see. Nobody saw me fall, they only saw me standing. They never heard the pieces of my heart breaking quietly behind polite conversations. I became so good at pretending to be okay. Even loneliness started believing me. My phone stays silent most nights, not because no one knows me, but because no one knows how much I needed someone to ask me to stay. I watered everyone else's flowers while my own garden turned to dust. You can lose yourself without ever leaving home. It happens slowly, one forgotten dream at a time. Kept carrying tomorrow with hands already full of yesterday. But tonight I'm putting every burden down, not because life suddenly became easy, but because I finally believe I deserve the same kindness. I've spent my whole life giving. If you ever meet someone who smiles a little too easily, be gentle. Some people learn to hide their tears so well. Even the rain can't find them. Every morning I borrow the same smile. I wear it like my favorite coat. People wave, I wave back. No one notices how heavy a smile can become. The girl at the grocery store asked how my day was. I answered, I'm doing great. She smiled, I smiled. Two strangers protecting each other with beautiful eyes. I wonder how many people walk these streets carrying storms behind quiet eyes. Maybe I'm not the only one. This isn't my smile, I'm only borrowing it until I find the one I lost somewhere between stop burning. Sometimes I sit inside my car long after arriving home, not because I don't want to go inside, because I'm afraid the silence already knows I'm coming. Introducing myself as the woman everyone expects, and finally become the woman I've been waiting to meet. Because happiness was never something I had to pretend. It was always waiting patiently underneath the weight I carried alone. If you ever see someone smiling quietly without saying much, don't assume they're okay. Sometimes the strongest people are simply the best at hiding how much they hurt. Television fills the room with voices I don't hear. It's only there to make the apartment sound less empty. The clock keeps moving, I don't some nights even breathing feels louder than my thoughts. I stand beside the window, watching strangers find their way home. Every light in every apartment makes me wonder, does someone wait for them, or are they pretending to? Loneliness doesn't always knock, sometimes it quietly moves and changes the curtains, learns your routines. Then one day you can't remember what life sounded like before it arrived. This quiet is heavier than words. It sits beside me at every meal, sleeps beside me every night, follows me into crowded places. No one can see it, but I carry it everywhere. I found an old notebook today, inside a list of dreams written by a younger version of me. She wanted oceans, road trips, a little house full of music. I closed the notebook, not because the dreams were gone, but because I wasn't ready to forgive myself for leaving them behind. But for the first time, the silence doesn't feel like my enemy. It feels like it's waiting for me to begin again. Every room remembers, even when I try to forget. The chair beside the window still faces the sunset. The coffee mug has a tiny crack on the handle. I never throw it away. Some broken things still deserve a place to stay. The walls don't speak, but somehow they know every version of me. The woman who laughed, the woman who cried, the woman who kept saying I'm fine, until even the mirror stopped believing her. It's strange how home can become so quiet, yet still feel full of voices, not ghosts, not memories, just the pieces of myself I left behind. This is a house full of echoes. Every hallway repeats my name. Every empty room reminds me that loneliness doesn't always come from losing someone. Sometimes it comes from losing yourself. I opened every window, the evening breeze carried in the smell of rain. For the first time in a long time, I didn't close the curtains, I let the light stay a little longer. These echoes were never here to haunt me. Maybe they stayed because they were waiting for me to come home, not to this apartment, not to the city, but to the woman who kept surviving, even on the day she wanted to disappear. Tonight the house still echoes, but for the first time, so does hope. Tomorrow, the sun will rise through these same windows, and maybe so will I. So will I. I carried every I'm okay like another stone inside my pocket by the end of each day. I wondered why my heart felt so heavy. No one saw how tired I had become from pretending to be someone who wasn't falling apart. I learned how to answer questions without telling the truth. How are you? I'm fine. 2 words, a lifetime of silence. The hardest lies were never spoken to other people. They were whispered to myself. I kept believing that if I stayed quiet, no one would have to worry. But silence has a way of becoming its own prison. This is the way I never showed the tears I swallowed before they reached my eyes. The dreams I quietly buried because I thought they were too late. The lonely nights, the empty mornings, the invisible battles no one applauded. Still, I survived them all. This morning I stood in front of the mirror, not looking for the woman I used to be, but meeting the woman who never stopped trying to keep me alive. For the first time I smiled, not because everything was better, but because I finally believed I deserved to stay. Life may still be difficult, the loneliness may still return, but now it won't find the same woman who used to surrender. Because somewhere between all the tears, I forgot I had survived. I became someone stronger than the sadness that tried to define me. If you're listening and you're carrying a weight no one else can see, please stay. The morning doesn't ask us to be perfect, it only asks us to keep walking, and sometimes that's enough.